Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. Today is Wednesday, and I do my Q&As on Wednesday. Basically, what I do is each week people ask me questions, and each week I answer those questions. So that's what this is. This is the video where I answer your questions. Now, last week I actually got lots of comments on my video, but the funny thing was I got no questions. Nobody asked me any questions. So I was like, oh man, I have no questions for this week. However, fortunately, randomly, today somebody did ask me a question for this video. So I'm going to answer their question. I'm going to do a little bit over the top answer to their question because, hey, it's the only question I have. Might as well give a really great answer. So it's from Comic Book Ninja. And he wrote the following. I thought Batman 1 was the first Catwoman and not number 3. So that's the first thing he wrote. And then he also wrote a question for this week, and I'll get into that question as well. But I kind of wanted to explain quickly what is the first appearance of Catwoman and kind of get that whole history of Catwoman kind of sorted out in people's minds. So if you look at CGC slabs of a Batman 1, you will see the first appearance, it'll say first appearance of Joker and Catwoman. In a way that is correct, but it's also incorrect. So in Batman 1, there is a character known as the Cat. And the Cat is committing a series of crimes within Gotham. It's, so it's like, there's like newspaper headlines and stuff like that. And so it's not really that they don't see that character. They just know that this character is committing crimes. And it's only later that in Batman number 3, which is this book, that we get the real first appearance of Catwoman. And she actually gets referred to as Catwoman. So that's the confusion that happens with the character. Now, it says the first appearance of like the notes, the first appearance of Catwoman in costume. And it's also the first appearance of the Puppet Master. So a couple key things about this book. But when you see Catwoman in this book, it's the lamest costume ever. Literally, she just has like she's just wearing regular clothes with a cat mask. She's wearing like a cat mask, and it's a pretty lame looking costume. So, but she is referred to as Catwoman. So really, in my opinion, that is her first appearance. Like, it's sort of like, I would say like maybe Batman 1 and Batman 2 would be the cameo where they're kind of like not really showing the character, not really, it's sort of, they would be less of a cameo than even 180 versus 181 of the Hulk with Wolverine's first appearance. It's really like she is not shown. So Catwoman, it really makes her first appearance, in my opinion, in Batman 3. Now, the Catwoman that we know today, with the kind of more sexy kind of streamlined kind of costume, with the the kind of style that we kind of picture Catwoman as, with the purple, I should say, purple costume, that actually appeared much later. She didn't make that appearance until Batman number 35, and that's this book. And I showed this in an unboxing video. If you go to my Sundays video, where I do like the big unboxing, and I show some pretty big keys in that video, I show the actual internal pages. I don't want to open it up again. I'm kind of paranoid about opening it up too much. But I show what that costume looks like. So I recommend you check out that video. Okay, so I just wanted to quickly explain a little bit of Catwoman's history. I really like the character. I actually recommend that you read those early, like, first few issues of Batman. They're quite good. Okay, so now we get into the QA. Okay, so his question was, what are your general thoughts on the recent comic-related movies and TV? The Batman, Moon Knight, Morbius, and Peacemaker. Well, actually, I did comment in a previous video on both Batman and Peacemaker. I did a full video about Peacemaker. The Batman, I did one with a collaboration video with MVP, and we basically discussed that movie, and I did that on his channel where I actually did my breakdown. So just quickly about the Batman movie, I thought it signaled something. It was a signal movie. So with Marvel, what you have is the tone of like humorous, kind of silly, a little bit kind of fun, not so serious movie. With DC and the the Batman movie, I really felt like they were trying to set a tone that was dark. And if you look at the Batman movie, it is dark. It's almost like, is there any light in Gotham? It feels like it's always dark there. And that grittiness, that kind of tone, I feel like they were really trying to distinguish themselves from Marvel and take that kind of more, like, we're more sophisticated, we're more deep and dark and moody, I guess. And I think that was really where they wanted to go with the DC universe. I'm not necessarily sure if that's a good tone to be taking. I actually liked the Batman movie. I would give it like I think a 7 out of 10, maybe a 6, 7, kind of in that range, because I thought, cinematographically, it was good. It looked very good. It was very solid. The acting was great. There was no character that I could say, oh, I really hated the acting of that character. I enjoyed all the characters. I thought they were really good. There was a couple scenes that bothered me, and I will quickly tell you, like, spoiler, but I will tell you those two scenes. One scene was with Batman, and it's where Bruce Wayne is visiting Alfred in the hospital. Now, Alfred just really took the bullet for Batman. He basically received an explosive package and got almost blown up. Well, he did get blown up, got into the hospital, survived somehow. And Bruce Wayne basically goes to the hospital to talk to Alfred and say, hey, look, he's visiting him in the hospital, and you'd think it's going to be one of those moments where a very immature Batman or immature Bruce Wayne, whatever way, they're the same person, had an opportunity to basically excuse me, still getting over my cold. Excuse me. Okay, had an opportunity to basically meet with Alfred and make amends with him. Because up to that point, Bruce Wayne had been sort of a jerk to Alfred. He was acting like kind of like a spoiled kid. And this was really an opportunity for him to grow as a person and say, hey, look, I was acting like a spoiled kid. I didn't really appreciate you as my sort of surrogate father. And it would have been a really great moment to have, Bruce Wayne kind of, when Alfred first wakes up, to be there and like to be that son kind of like figure and kind of really, make amends with Alfred and really show that he had grown as a person. But instead, the very first thing that Bruce Wayne says to Alfred when Alfred wakes up is, you lied to me. and he basically, and Alfred, who's just recovering, is like apologizing to Bruce Wayne. I just think I don't know, it just made me feel like, man, what a missed opportunity. Because one of the things that we want to see in any character that we like is that hero's journey where they kind of maybe are not perfect at the beginning, they're kind of raw, but they kind of refine themselves and kind of really become that hero that we want them to be. And this was that missed opportunity where Batman could have been that hero. So I thought it was a really big missed opportunity. It came across as like, man, whack. You just want to smack him. Like, you really don't like Batman after that, because he was a jerk. He was a total jerk. So that was one scene that really bothered me. And there was another scene where Catwoman and Batman are sort of talking, and Catwoman's like, hey, let's just leave. Let's just leave this town, and, we don't really have to stay here. And Batman is like, no, we gotta stay here and fight and, protect the city. And that was a good attitude. And Catwoman's like, why should we protect these privileged white males? Like, it was like that typical like woke SJW kind of messaging that just was put in there, and it felt really out of place. And it felt like they weren't really trying to move the story forward in any particular way. They were trying to just put in some political message. And it really bothered me, because here she is saying this to Batman, who is a white, privileged, rich person. He is what she's describing. And he should have just like said, you're an idiot. Like, he really should have, sort of said, what are you talking about? Like, it's not even a white thing. It's like, I don't know. It's like, I hate the fact that they made it like some racial thing. And it just felt very Marxian and very social justice-y. I just really bothered me. So those two scenes, I felt like those two scenes, if they were done differently, it could have made the movie from being a 7 to being a 9. That much of a difference. It really hurt the movie, those two scenes, because they were just not necessary. So that was the Batman. Now, Morbius, I didn't see, so I can't comment, but I heard some really bad things about it, so I'm kind of waiting for it to come out on streaming, because, I heard some bad things. I heard it wasn't that good. So, that is what it is. Peacemaker, which is another show that came out, another DC, I enjoyed. Again, there was a lot of this wokeness in it, and that bothered me. I felt like it wasn't necessary. But I actually liked the fact that Peacemaker himself was kind of like almost like an antidote to that wokeness. So I felt like that was good. Now, Moon Knight. So the only one that I hadn't spoken about before was Moon Knight. And I kind of wanted to quickly get into a couple things with Moon Knight. So this is where I really wanted to focus this video. So Moon Knight has so far, in the time of when I'm recording this, I'm actually not recording this on Wednesday, so there'll be another episode today for you. But so far there's been 2 episodes. And I actually enjoyed both episodes. I've heard a lot of complaints, from other people about them, but I actually enjoyed the first 2 episodes of Moon Knight. I didn't find that there was any wokeness. That was good. That I always find that that's very jarring. The things that I would say that I thought they have to kind of find that right balance with, and I felt like they were maybe a little bit off balance on it, was how much character development do you want to do where you're showing that split personality? And how much development do you want to do showing the superhero? And I felt like they kind of put too much time into the character development and showing that split personality rather than showing the superhero. Because, there's only 6 episodes. And we really want to see that superhero. We want to see Moon Knight being Moon Knight. And I felt like that really didn't satisfy me. I felt like that was a little bit like toned down. And I think that was a bit of a miss. So I kind of wish they would show a bit more Moon Knight, a bit more action. Let Moon Knight kind of be more front and center, and not the whole disorder of of the man. So I kind of felt like that was a little bit, that was my weak, only my one flaw with the movie, or the TV series. I actually enjoy the acting. I think it's quite good. I like Ethan Hawke. He's playing his character quite well. I kind of like him being kind of this very subtle. And I actually find that there's one of these things that I enjoy. I always enjoy the political kind of social dynamics that happen within any show. I'm very political in my thinking. And one of the things that I look at is Ethan Hawke's, I keep on forgetting his name of his character. Somebody can comment what his name of his character is, but I always forget the name of his character. So, but his worldview is this, that it's sort of like the baby Hitler. The baby Hitler analogy is really the analogy of Moon Knight. That if you could kill baby Hitler, would you do it? So, you can go back in time, kill Hitler when he's a baby, therefore he never becomes Hitler, and you save millions of lives because Hitler never becomes Hitler. But you just killed a baby, which is kind of evil. So, that's really the messaging of Moon Knight. And so Ethan Hawke's character believes in killing baby Hitler. Moon Knight doesn't believe in killing baby Hitler. And I think Moon Knight is correct in that. We kind of have to let things play out. We can't allow thought crime and the potential for crime to be something that we punish before it actually happens. It's sort of like Minority Report, where that Tom Cruise movie, where they were kind of doing pre-crime, where they would punish people before they actually committed the crime. And I think that kind of world is very dystopian, that you don't want to punish people for a crime that they might commit. And even though you're 100% sure that they're going to commit that crime, sometimes convicting or killing somebody for something that they might do, even if they know that they're going to do it, is worse than allowing them to do it. I know it sounds bad, sort of weird, but you gotta kind of sort of let things happen sometimes, or not let them happen. You stop them when they actually are about to happen. So a much better approach, I guess, would be like to go back in time and give maybe Hitler a better childhood, so he's not so messed up. But I don't know. It's one of those. It's one of those moral dilemmas, and I think Moon Knight said it well. Like when he was his Steve character, he said, "Do you believe in killing babies?" It's like kind of brutal. So I kind of wanted to show some Moon Knight related keys. So I kind of like showing comics, and I felt like this is a good time to show Moon Knight related keys. If you're interested in the show, like I actually enjoy this show. And I kind of want to show quickly just some Moon Knight keys, and then I'll wrap up the video. So the very first Moon Knight key is obviously Werewolf by Night 32. And this one is my copy. I actually got this really cheaply. I think I paid $600 for it. And it's just like a great first appearance, because it's a great cover appearance. And basically the story of this book is that Moon Knight is hired as a mercenary to go kill Werewolf by Night. And Moon Knight uses silver, which is the natural weapon to use against a werewolf. So kind of a cool comic. And it's one of those interesting stories where Moon Knight actually, I think, kind of comes close to beating Werewolf by Night. So, very interesting story. So, it's a character that was not meant to be like a long-term character, but his first appearance is just so cool and so iconic that they decided to do more with him. So, Werewolf by Night, that's the first appearance of Moon Knight. And then we get the first solo story of Moon Knight. And this is Moon Knight Spotlight, Marvel Spotlight number 28. And this is the first solo story by Moon Knight. And this is actually a fairly inexpensive book. I think I paid less than $100 for this. And it's just like one of those ones that is kind of going up and going down. It's like all over the place. People really haven't kind of figured out whether or not this is the book to get or not. But this is the first solo story for Moon Knight. So if you're interested in Moon Knight, this is the book to get, or one of the books to get. The next book, and I think this one will be important for the TV series, is this one, Moon Knight number 1, which is the first appearance of the Bushman. And it's also, does it say? It also gives the origin of Moon Knight. So it's the first appearance of Khonshu, and it's the story where we get, from the TV series, where we get that whole, God-related story that Moon Knight is the avatar for Khonshu. And, it gives that history for how Moon Knight became Moon Knight. So it's that whole origin story. So I think a lot of people kind of gravitated to this book as the second number 2 book to get for Moon Knight, Werewolf by Night 32 being the first, and this being the second. Because it is the origin, it's Moon Knight number 1, it's the first titled Moon Knight. It's, and it also introduces some major characters for Moon Knight. So kind of a key book. Now, another book that I think is kind of a cool one is the later series of Moon Knight. And this is Moon Knight number 1 from 2014. And this is the first appearance of Mark Spector, I believe. Or the Mr. Knight, Moon Knight. So that's the character where we see in the TV series where he kind of has a different costume. He's like kind of a little bit more stylish kind of version of Moon Knight. And that's where this is the book that he made his that first appearance. Now there is an earlier appearance of that costume, but it's not named the Mr. Knight costume. So or persona. So this is the book that has that. So and then the last kind of major key, just for the TV series and not necessarily, it was a one and done character, was Ethan Hawke's character, and I still can't remember the name, and that was in Moon Knight number 2, where he made his first appearance. So this is the other key to get for the Moon Knight series. So yeah, kind of a cool little comic. Again, not that expensive for that book. I think it's like $30 range. I paid $20, so it's not like it wasn't a big book. So yeah, so those are the Moon Knight keys, and I kind of gave you my quick opinion of Moon Knight. I enjoyed it. I'm still a little bit on the fence whether I think it's going to be a great or just a good TV series, because I'm waiting for them to be a little bit more actiony. I did enjoy the very first action sequence in the first episode where they are driving their truck, and and you see action and then you don't see action, and it's kind of interesting how the personalities see the action. I enjoyed that, actually. I thought it was a little weak when in the second episode where he's fighting the invisible jackal. I thought that was a little weak, that that they made the character invisible. I know why they did that, because they don't want the rest of the world to know that there's these other beings. But it came across as a cheap way to get around doing lots of CGI. So it was one of those things. I just hope that the next episode they get more into the origin of Moon Knight and really get into more action. So I'm hoping that that's the case. We'll know when this video drops whether that is the case or not. So still hopeful. So yeah, that's been my Q&A for this week. If you have a question that you want me to answer for next week, please leave a comment below with your question. If you don't ask me questions, I have nothing to talk about. So it's always best if people can leave me questions. So thanks again for listening and just paying attention. And bye for now.